Welcome to the National Real Estate Network video training program. This video is part of a series designed to help beginning and experienced real estate investors with the different aspects of purchasing and investing in properties. Be sure to click become a member at 27monthlymeetup.com.
Just a half would be there, and I had houses that you ever watch the movie Home Alone? So I had like timers on the radio that would come on, talk radio, nice and loud. So, and I'd also have them on the lights that would come on and off at certain hours. So that was kind of a poor man's approach to home security. If they were a house in a tougher area, then I always had, like Detroit, I was, not in Pontiac, but in Detroit I was using, what are the things that you put there, not storm doors, but you lock them, the gates, security gate on the thing, because if your furnace was going to be stolen, they're going to steal it from somebody that doesn't have security gates, because they gotta, so I would have the security gates there. And then when I would also buy houses in a tougher area that I was rehabbing, then I would actually have the rehab crew, I would have somebody stay in there. So they would actually be camped out there. And sometimes, this was a long time ago, so I don't know about today's market, I would actually write a lease with them. And the reason I did that is so I could get the proper insurance. So once the house was rehabbed, my lease might only be for $1 a month, but I had a tenant in the house. So I structured myself so that it was tenant occupied. What? Yeah, I would find contractors that had helpers that would live in the house. Okay. So, yeah, so if you follow, I was actually doing exactly what the insurance company wanted. But they had to have, like, you couldn't just let them sleep on the floor. I mean, we would have, it would be livable enough that they were kind of staged. Yeah. Well, that's good. So what Kim said to the people in here, he had a warehouse with furniture and stuff for staging. Okay, so living room, kitchen. So if it was a kitchen, then I was replacing the cabinets. At that point, I was doing Home Depot cabinets. If the cabinets are so high, then I would probably be on Craigslist looking to see what I could do if I was being incredibly frugal. But if I was doing a whole bunch of them, then I'd probably be back doing Home Depot type stuff. I'd put new subflooring in on the kitchen, and I would put down the laminate, and I would tile it. If the bathrooms on like the Pontiac houses I was doing, if sometimes I would pay to have the tubs reglazed, and then sometimes I would replace it, but I was pretty frugal on how I did it. Then when I walk into the basement of the house, I would, if the basement walls leaked, then I'm going to disclose on my selling agreement the basement walls leaked. But I would put seal lock on everything so I could temporarily stop all leaking, so that even if the basement leaked, I could still, it looked good. And the walls were all white. And then I would use porch and deck paint, gray. I would paint my floors so that the basement had an incredibly nice, clean look to it. And when I sold any house I ever sold, even if I thought the basement didn't leak, I disclosed on the sell agreement that the basements leak, because I've been sued so many times over leaky basements. So all basements in the state of Michigan leak, as far as I'm concerned. And I would disclose that the basement, that I bought this house, I haven't lived in the house, but the basement may leak. And then I would say I use seal lock on my wall. So you have to disclose. You can do cosmetic stuff to a house, but you got to, on your seller disclosure, you need to disclose everything there. So I had a nice clean look to the basement. So if I had an old box, electric box, I would swap it out. So it looked like new service there, and it was. If you were going to buy a house, I had a lot of houses I was going to that had, the 2 wires with around insulator. So then the house needed to be rewired. Some people would put a brand new box on, and the stuff that needed to be rewired couldn't be seen. So if they did that, they needed to disclose that that's what's on the walls. So basically, you wanted to make sure when somebody went in the house, it smelled good, with new carpet and stuff, and looked good. And but I could do a pretty reasonable rehab. I would take all the electrical outlets and put brand new plugs in and brand new covers, so that it had a nice clean look to it. So most of my buyers, when I went to sell their houses, were coming from the neighborhood. So we would canvass like within a 3-block radius, because parents wanted their kids to move back in close to them, and they would even help with the financing and stuff, or co-sign on stuff. So once the house was rehabbed, then we would work the neighborhood to bring people over to look at it. I was actually doing most of the door knocking at that time, because there was a certain kind of person I was looking for that was an owner of a home that had a kid that wanted to be in the neighborhood. So I would go chit chat with everybody. So, but I could find most of my buyers that were pretty close. Ceiling fans I put in all the houses. All right, so let's keep going. So exit strategies. I do. We're going to be done at 8, so maybe I'm going to, let me. I'm going to cruise right through it, because I'm almost to the end of all this stuff. And then I'm going to bring Ken up, because he's somebody that's out doing this stuff. So I want to, right now today, so I want to get him to speak for a minute. And he's also, he's done stuff in Ann Arbor, but he's in a really good market, in the Toledo market, that he's learned and knows it backwards and forwards. I'll let him share that. So he's getting some really good deals there. So my exit strategy was on find, fix, and flip is to absolutely get the house sold. If for some reason I couldn't get it sold, then I was structuring a rent to own. But my rent to own, or my lease options, were uniquely different, because remember, I've got a completely rehabbed property. I've got a parent that wants a child to move into it. They don't qualify for an FHA. So I'm going to structure a deal with them where I'm trying to put the parents on the hook. But really what I want to do is put the tenant at major risk. So now the house is all fixed up, and you say the house is worth $100,000. So I need a $10,000 non-refundable option consideration, 10% down. They don't have $10,000. So what you've had a mortgage person work with them, so you know what they are already qualified and what they can really pay, so that they do have, between the parents and them, they've got, say, $3,000. So you take the $3,000, and you need, in the market rent on that property, let's say, is $750. So now you're going to set the market rent on a lease at $750, separate lease, and you're not going to collect a security deposit. So now we're going to stick that over there. But you're going to get all the money they've got that they don't get back. So now you're going to say, you've got, now we used $750 there, but you still have $2,250 left, $2,250 left. We're going to take that as non-refundable option consideration. But I need $10,000. So the remaining amount of that, we're going to take in a promissory note from your parents, and you are going to sign it, and you're going to pay an extra $200 a month because the mortgage person's told you they can afford that. Or they're going to pay you $100 a month because the mortgage person's told you they can afford that. So you're going to structure it so they're getting enough money down over a period of time. And they're also majorly at risk because if they decide to walk away from the rental agreement, the way you've structured your option agreement is if they walk away, they lose their option consideration. So now you've got them on the hook for that $7,000. So you're either going to get your property back really clean or you're in a much stronger position to negotiate with them. Even if you're going to wipe that note out, you're going to make sure the property comes back clean. Does everybody follow that? So now you're collecting the market rent plus the $200 just going towards that down payment. And now when they actually do achieve all that with the mortgage person, the way you structured it, then they can get the mortgage for it. So you're actually structuring the sale eventually. I'm going to do an all-day workshop on options, and like our mentoring group's already got it. You know, you guys, I sent it to you, so it's got the training in it and everything. You got me to help you. So, but at that day when I do it, you'll get it. You know, so that's a couple months away. So. No, I mean, that's what I did on everything at the end. And now, how did I learn that? Was those 325 rental properties in the city of Pontiac. I had to get out of that. So now it's real easy to buy a lot of rental property. But when you decide to get rid of it, it's not so easy to get out of it, okay? And I wanted to get out at retail prices. I didn't want to, see, you got a rental property, your only exit strategy is to sell it to another investor. And Ken's not going to give me what I really want to get. I want to get retail price for it. So it means when the tenant vacates it, then I'm going to rehab it. And my objective is to get it sold. But let's say I don't get it sold, then I need to have an exit strategy to get it rented, but put them at risk. You have to have people at risk. So that's if you structure the lease option correctly, you can majorly put them at risk. And if they get the down payment at that point, even if you're doing it on paper, like a land contract or a private mortgage, they've legitimately put all that money down and you can document it. So now you've got paper that's totally sellable at a low yield. Yeah. So, yeah. No, they're not. So you have to. Correct. And you've collected market rent. This is all above the market rent. So it's all documentable. So Saturday, I'm going to do an all-day workshop. So like I blew through this stuff way too fast. So I'm going to, like the subcontract agreements, all that stuff. I've got the attorney coming. I have an experienced person that does the rehabs on Pontiac, Detroit properties, those kinds of properties. So he's going to be here too, and he's an experienced investor. So he's going to be talking also. So that's, if anybody wants to sign up today, is $50. So that's, and we're going to go ahead with it. There might be a really small group based upon what showed up tonight. So, but it'll be a good day of learning. So that's, and if you do it, if you wait and come that day, it's, yeah, so people that are just coming, it's, so like it's a special price for sign up. So, and then if you're ever interested, we've got a mentoring program where we're doing personalized coaching on wholesaling. It's the same kind of stuff that people are paying $50,000 and $30,000 for. And it's a 6-month program. So during that 6-month program, we're teaching people how to do the wholesaling. We're actually buying signs and going out. And if you guys don't want to manage your own signs, then we're going out ourselves and doing it with you, and then you can come in when you can. But if we're going to get involved and do that, then we're going to take part of the split, but you're going to learn how to do it. So and we get into doing like the all-day workshops, but then you got access to us.